Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our program tonight. As we've been doing for quite some time, we're going to start off this program with a salute to the United States of America, the country. No politics. This is the Army Barbershop Quartet, U.S. Army Barbershop Quartet at the Quartet Convention in 2015. The hosts of the convention are giving us our our Pledge of Allegiance. Will everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
The United States Army Barbershop Quartet at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. We want to thank all of our military men and women, wherever they might be around the world. God bless you and thank you for your service. We love our men and women in our armed forces, and it doesn't matter what branch. We love them all. We want to also thank the members of our allied services, wherever they might be, our allies' country. Thank you very much for your service, and may you all return home to your families in safety when your tours of duty end. God bless you all. We really appreciate our men and women in the service. That's one of the reasons we do what we do with the national anthem. Folks, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Okay? The first thing I want to talk about so far, as far as I can tell right now, Mr. T has not been arrested. Okay? Mr. T has not been arrested. Again, where did it come from? It came from Mr. T. His own website put that out. But what I need to say is this. There was a leak out of the New York District Attorney's Office. Mr. Bragg, who is a New York District Attorney, not a District Attorney, Attorney General. New York Attorney General, Bragg. He is trying to go after Mr. T, whatever it takes. Mr. Bragg is a puppet of George Soros. His campaign was paid for by George Soros. We have many avenues that we have explored finding out who put him in office, and that's what did it. Okay? His campaign was bought and paid for by George Soros. So, what is he doing? He's trying to take a case that has a statute authority that has expired and make it a federal offense. And he's trying to also make it a felony. Okay? Then, according to the New York state law, in order to take a misdemeanor, even if it is by statute of authority expired, the only way that that can happen by New York statute is if he finds another case to go up on it, attached to it, to bring both charges against him to make it a felony. And that was the case involving taxes in New York. Mr. T already paid for those. Okay? So Mr. Bragg is trying to lump all these things together to try to bring a case as a felony case against Mr. T. Also, it was found out sometime Saturday night going into Sunday that Mr. Bragg's office in New York contacted the Secret Service to find out whether they could come to Florida to arrest Mr. T. So it's a great big ball of worms right now. Okay? Number one, Mr. T will never be out of sight of Secret Service. Not going to happen. Okay? Mr. Bragg knew that. That's how this leak started, I believe. Okay? Because Bragg has to get permission from the Secret Service to get anywhere near Mr. T. Okay? There's that. There's also all kinds of other legal precedent that say this isn't going to happen. And if it does, it will be dismissed because it is a faulty case. Okay? Everybody in the Democrat side wants to see Mr. T in nickel plate bracelets. It's not going to happen. Everyone wants to see Mr. T's mugshot. I don't think that's going to happen either. Okay? If anything, it's going to be a case where one of Mr. T's attorneys will show up and sign the agreements, and that's it. That's the whole ball of wax. This is not a big deal. Okay? If it does go to court, which I doubt, there's nobody that'll be able to convict him. Okay? Nobody. Even if he gets a bunch of progressive Democrats on a jury, it's a far-flung case. And there is not one judge around that's going to give it the time of day. Okay? That's number one. Number two, the more and more attention that this plays out in, this whole case plays out in, it's giving Mr. T more and more attention himself. And in doing so, it's going to get Mr. T elected for the second time. Okay? This whole thing is going to backfire on the Democrat Communist Party. So it's if it does happen, we'll see. Another thing that also came up today, and I heard a little bit about it yesterday, is one of Mr. T's advisors went to testify in Mr. Bragg's indictment hearing. Okay? It's one of Mr. T's advisors that likes Mr. T. It's going to be a case where this advisor is going to testify to the positive part of Mr. T, and it's going to wipe out anything else that the others have maybe said. So there's all of that going on. There's a whole bunch of crap going on. Okay? But nothing as of about 10 or 15 minutes ago has come up about his arrest yet. I don't think it's going to happen. If it does, it might be tomorrow. But there's a lot going on in New York today. A ton of stuff. Now, one of the things that happened, okay, I want to see if I've got a picture. I believe I do. There is a building called, let me bring it up here. There's a building called One Biltmore. One Biltmore, okay? Let me show you the picture here. Okay, and this is a fuzzy picture, I understand. Okay, this is a high skyscraper in New York. One Biltmore Place, I think it's called. It's like a 60-plus story skyscraper. And today, earlier this afternoon, the building shook from top to bottom, especially the top floors. Now, they are saying that the reason that happened, that the elevator inside the building was being worked on. And apparently the elevator made the whole building shake. I have my doubts about that. I honestly think there was something else besides the elevator that would make that entire building shake from the top down. A lot of people left the Biltmore today, or Vanderbilt Tower. A lot of people left the Vanderbilt Tower today. Okay? I heard that there was glass breaking on the ground, falling out of the skyscraper windows, stuff like that. I don't believe an elevator would have done that. I don't know. I have never worked for an elevator company, but that happened also today. Now, there's something else that I wanted to talk about tonight, and it's not very pleasant. Okay? Last night in Milwaukee, 6 people were shot and 1 person was killed in Milwaukee at a mass shooting. Police in Milwaukee, Wisconsin are investigating after 6 young people, most of them women, were shot late Monday night. One of them died. The incident happened at 11:25 p.m. on Monday evening when officers were called for a shooting at the 1400 block of West Concordia Avenue in Milwaukee's north side. A 15-year-old Milwaukee boy was pronounced dead at the scene. 5 others, all women aged 18, 19, 21, and 22-year-olds, 2 22-year-olds, were taken to a hospital for treatment. The circumstances leading up to the shooting appear to be an argument related and are currently under investigation. The Milwaukee Police Department said in a brief statement that they don't have all the details right now and they're still trying to put things together. I believe we're going to find information out within the next few days. But again, this is an active crime scene area and an active investigation, and I don't believe they're going to release any details in the very near future. Okay? Other details are not known. Okay? Other details about this mass shooting are not known right now. But again, 1 person was killed and 6 people were shot in Milwaukee last night. Okay? Now, I want to talk about something else here. Okay? Yesterday, we talked about a 6.9 earthquake in Ecuador. Okay? A 6.9 magnitude earthquake in Ecuador on Sunday. That earthquake now has a death toll of 15 people, and many others are injured. I believe it's hundreds of people are injured in Ecuador's quake. It was right next to shore, literally right next to shore. There are videos of ambulances scrambling through the city streets around different cities in western Ecuador. But again, 15 people have been killed and probably close to 100 plus injured. Okay, as soon as we have more information on that, we are going to bring it to you. Now, today, this afternoon, in Afghanistan, there was a very strong earthquake that hit Afghanistan today. A big deal. A huge, huge deal. Okay? It came out as a 6.8 magnitude earthquake in Afghanistan. USGS quickly downgraded it to a 6.5. Okay? A 6.5. Folks, I believe it was a 6.5, not a 6.9 or 7.0. Originally, after this earthquake hit, in one of my groups, I said it may be larger. Okay? Immediately, as soon as I saw that earthquake come out, I thought it's going to be a larger quake. Every time we hear the agencies say anything about a 6.8 quake, it's usually larger. But in this case, and in a few minutes, I'll show you that it was no more than probably 6.5 or 6.6. But the strong earthquake had a preliminary magnitude of 6.8, downgraded almost immediately to a 6.5. It struck in Afghanistan and Pakistan. It killed at least 8 people so far and injured at least 150 others. Shaking was felt as far away as New Delhi, India, and Nepal. The earthquake, which struck at 9:17 p.m. local time on Tuesday, was centered in the Hindu Kush region of Afghanistan. This is the same region where we have been reporting 4.5 earthquakes, 4.6 earthquakes for months now. Okay? We've never had swarms. It's never been swarms. 1 or 2 earthquakes in this area, and that's all. But they've all been upwards of a 4.5 moderate quake. The U.S. Geological Survey put the magnitude as 6.5, like I said, while India's National Center for Seismology put it as a 6.6, and Pakistan's National Seismic Center put it as a 6.8, as it came out as. The earthquake struck about 188 kilometers below the surface. Okay? It was not a very shallow quake, but on the same token, it was not a very deep quake either. Light to moderate shaking was reported across the region and as far away as Kabul, Islamabad, Peshawar, Faisalabad, Rawalpindi, and New Delhi. Shaking was also reported in parts of Uzbekistan and Tajikistan and Nepal. The European Mediterranean Seismological Center, EMSC, said Tuesday's quake may have been felt by 285 million people across an area of more than 1,000 kilometers. Afghanistan's Disaster Mitigation Ministry told Reuters that at least 2 people were killed in Laghman province, and in neighboring Pakistan at least 6 people were killed, including a 13-year-old girl who died when a wall collapsed at her home, and at least 150 others were injured. Pakistan and Afghanistan are regularly hit by moderate to strong earthquakes, as we have reported, especially around Hindu Kush. And that's exactly where we've seen most of the 4.5s and 4.6s. Hindu Kush, Afghanistan. A powerful 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck Pakistan and administered to Kashmir in October 2005, killing more than 79,000 people. 79,000 people. Now, folks, that is a complete 100+% rise over the 6.8 or 6.5 that hit there in Afghanistan today. 100 plus rise, 100% plus rise over the earthquake that hit today. Okay, that's huge. That is huge. Let me show you something. Okay, let me show you some helioplots here. Look at this. Okay, now I want to show you this for a reason. This is Ankara, Turkey. This is almost as close as we can get. However, we do have a helioplot from Afghanistan today. Okay, but this is Ankara, Turkey. You see what I'm saying here? Over on the far left here, you see the P waves, the primary waves. After that, it reduces in seismicity a great lot. Those are secondary waves. Secondary waves. And these waves continued for long after that earthquake hit. Each line, each horizontal line here, guys, is an hour long. So we're showing at least 3 hours of secondary waves. It hasn't even gotten to a body wave yet. It's still shaking over there. A lot of shaking. Okay? Let me show you another one here. I'm going to go over to Armenia now. Look at this. This helioplot is just a slight bit different from the others that I'm going to show you. This earthquake here on this particular helioplot started on the right. Then it's continued over on the left-hand side. Okay? But the main P wave was over on the right-hand side in this case. Okay? I want to show you that because essentially that does happen a lot. Okay? It happens a lot when an earthquake is going between hours on the graphs. Okay? Now we have this one that comes out of Kievo, Finland. Kievo, Finland. This is very intriguing with this one here. We see here 3 separate P waves. Okay? 3 separate P waves. 2 primary waves starting about 10 minutes before the third. 2 P waves hitting, and then there was secondary waves after that for about 10-15 minutes. Then all heck broke loose for a third time. Okay? Then again it dies down to a secondary wave again, and those secondary waves continue. Okay? That's the difference here with Finland. We see 3 different waves there, separated by about 15 minutes of time. Okay? Then we go over to Kabul, Afghanistan. This is in the same country where these earthquakes happened. And we can understand why this particular seismic or helioplot is going to show more P waves, and it's going to be more black here. More black. Completely off the chart. Okay? It's because this is closest recorder of information. Okay, that's why this happens. It's right there. And again, you see at least 3 hours of time going by here. Okay? The secondary waves have not stopped moving. And then when they do, we're going to see body waves after that. Okay? This is what's going on. I wanted to make sure that you understood about this earthquake as well. We've had a lot of earthquakes around the world today. This is the biggest. This is the biggest earthquake that we've had today. Okay? Now, I want to go over to the USGS map, even though it's well beyond not even close to being true. Okay? We're just going to look at the major quakes today. That's all we're doing here with this one. Okay? We told you about that earthquake over in Afghanistan. Okay? We've also had an earthquake up here in Russia. Okay? We had one up here yesterday. Okay? This one here is a 4.9, 5.0. The earthquake yesterday was just north of here, and it was a 5.3 large earthquake up here in the Evensk, Russia province. This is in Russia. Again, they named this as a 4.9. I'm saying the 0.9 society is alive and well, that this is probably at least a 5.0 here in Russia. It may be an aftershock of yesterday's earthquakes. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, now I am very, what shall I say, I am very biased with my reporting because I've been around the block a little while and I've seen them doing all sorts of stupid stuff. Okay, that's why I can say that's probably a 5.0 or larger quake, because they continue to do stupid things here. Just south of Kamchatka Peninsula, in the Kuril Island area, this is a 4.7 magnitude earthquake, a moderate earthquake here in the Kuril Islands. I believe most of the Kuril Islands are not occupied. They belong to Russia here. Okay? We don't see any earthquakes here in Japan. That's a fallacy. There's always earthquakes somewhere around Japan. USGS not showing any is basically showing their own stupidity. Okay? Then we go over to Taiwan. Okay? This is a little more serious of a deal. Okay? This is a 5.2 large earthquake. A 5.2 large earthquake, just about 7 miles deep. Okay, 11 kilometers, 7 miles deep. Now this hit near Hualien City, Taiwan, the capital of Taiwan. This earthquake is a very large earthquake. No, it's not a 5.6 or 5.7, but it's a 5.2. These people are used to feeling quakes. Large earthquakes such as this cause damage and they can kill people. Now, I have not gotten any further information about this quake yet. I've had a lot of things that have been going on, so I don't have any updated information on this particular quake. But I'm telling you guys, we will be talking about this sometime within the next day or so. This hit a major city. I'm zooming in, you can see what we have here. I can't zoom in far enough to show you residences or anything, but I can show you highways. I can show you that there are people that live here in this area. This is not really a commercial area, it's more agricultural on the outside of the main city. But where it hit here, the seismic waves were felt all over the eastern side of Taiwan here. Okay, you can see the rest of the city here. Okay, they say it's 55 kilometers south-southwest of Hualien City. This is at the capital. And you can see everything we're showing you here. This is a big deal here in Taiwan. These people felt a very large, I shouldn't say very large is 5.6 to 5.9. But this is a very traumatic event here. A large earthquake hit Taiwan today. Okay? Not a good thing. There's all sorts of stuff going on in Taiwan, and this is just one more thing that hits them in the face. It's a sad day for them. Okay? Going over here into Indonesia. We're showing 3 quakes in Indonesia and 1 in Papua New Guinea here. Okay, this one here is a 4.9, 5.0. Like I said, the USGS is out with their 0.9 society, dropping 0.9 anything. Okay, this I believe was also larger than a 5.0. Okay, this is over in Tobelo, Indonesia. This is a hotbed for earthquake activity here in Indonesia. We've had a lot of earthquakes here. Okay? Going south, this is east of Java. This is a 4.4 magnitude quake in the Valdese Sea. In the Valdese Sea. Yes, there are tiny little islands here, but I believe this was a moderate quake, and I believe that the seismic waves of the ocean here were caught in the ocean and absorbed. I don't believe anybody was affected by this quake. Now we go further west here. Okay, I want to show you this. This is also 4.4 near Timor-Leste. Timor-Leste, L-E-S-T-E. Okay, this, folks, was also very close to Java, Indonesia. You can see it here. Okay, this was also mostly out in the ocean here. Nobody really felt this here. Okay, it was out in the ocean for the most part. A moderate, low moderate earthquake, 4.4. Okay, that was 164 kilometers deep. A fairly shallow quake. And I want to also say this. Okay, some people report shallow earthquakes as being a 400. Okay, 400 kilometers deep. Those are deep earthquakes. Those are deep earthquakes. Yesterday, Mary had an earthquake that was like 164 kilometers deep and said it was a deep quake. It wasn't. That is a fairly shallow quake. Deep quakes are 400, 500, 600 kilometers deep. Those are deep quakes. Anything less than that is fairly moderate depths. If we go down to 100 or less, those are shallow quakes. Very shallow quakes. Okay? So these are intermediate depths here. Okay? We go over to Papua New Guinea. Okay? Actually, this is Papua Indonesia, I'm sorry. This is also 4.5, 32 kilometers deep. Just a 4.5 moderate quake, right along the coast here. We've had earthquakes here in the past. Okay? There are small villages here. That's all. Small villages. Most moderate quakes are going to rattle people's nerves more than anything. If they have pictures or plaques or something hanging on the wall, the moderate quakes might knock those off. It also might knock over books on shelves and trinkets and things. Okay, but it's not going to do a ton of damage. Okay? It's not going to do a ton of damage. Now, even with that said, okay, moderate quakes somewhere else may be considered differently. I want to go over here first before I go anywhere else. This is a 4.7 in Vanuatu, one of the islands here in the South Pacific. Vanuatu's gotten hit quite frequently. We've had 6s and even 7.0 earthquakes here in Vanuatu over the years. This is just a moderate 4.7, an upper range 4. This was also out in the ocean. It was 6 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Okay? Nothing big to shout out. Really nothing big to shout out. Now I want to go over here to South America. Okay, I want to show you this earthquake here. It's a 5.6 here in south central Chile. A 5.6 over here in south central Chile. This, they say, is 15 kilometers from northwest of Melpita, Chile. Okay? Look where it is. It's in the foothills of the Andes Mountains. It's in the western foothills of the Andes Mountains. Okay? This was a very strong earthquake. 5.6s, 6.0, 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. This was a 5.6. It's a very large earthquake and strong. Okay? Anybody even anywhere near here is going to feel the shaking. This is in the rocks of this mountain. This is in the rock bed of the mountain. This was only 65 kilometers deep, a fairly shallow quake, possibly from down underneath the crust of the earth. The crust of the earth is anywhere from 39 to 69 miles deep. 39 to 69 miles deep. Below that is what they call the asthenosphere, where plastic magma is. Hot, fast-moving magma. Okay? This may be either just barely in the asthenosphere, or it might be still in the crust. But this was a very large earthquake. Okay? It felt probably over a great deal of places here in western Chile. It may have even been felt to the tops of the Andes Mountains here. Okay? We don't have any word as to anybody injured or killed here, but this earthquake could do that. We haven't heard anything like that. Okay? Now, they're not reporting any other earthquakes here, which is a travesty. Okay? Just like we had when Ecuador had that 6.9. They didn't report anything, which was a joke. I want to show you something. I want to show you something because, quite frankly, when I see stuff like this, I laugh. I totally laugh. Okay? Look here at the number of earthquakes over in South America. Look at the number of earthquakes here. Down south there. Okay? Down south here. Down in southern Chile, near Bahia Menza, Chile, there's a 3.0. 3.0 here. Just a second, let me get rid of the light. Okay. Put this up here again. This is a 3 point, jeez, why does it do that? This is a 3.0 earthquake here. We go up north where that 5.6 occurred, and we have two other earthquakes there as well. Okay? Here's the 5.6 there. Okay? We have the 5.6 here. We have a 2.8 and a 2.7 to the east, north, and south. A couple of twos there. We go north. Look what we have here. We have at least a dozen earthquakes up here. So for USGS not to show us anything, it's a joke. It really is. Up in this area here, at the top of the Andes, this is Argentina. La Roja, Argentina. It's a 3.5. We've had a 5.0 here in the past. Okay? But over in Chile along the coast is most where the other earthquakes hit. Atacama, Chile. There's a 2.9, 3.0 in Atacama, Chile. And you can see all these other earthquakes here. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 earthquakes there in northern Chile. Just in northern Chile alone. 2 aftershocks around that 5.6 and 1 south of there. Okay? Nearly 20 earthquakes right there. We go over to Peru, we have another 3.6 near Luriqui, Peru. A 3.6 there. Then up here in Colombia we have 2 more. Okay, this is Meta Colombia here. Here's a 2.0. Then north of there, and this is in Santander, Colombia, where we've seen swarms of earthquakes here before, we have another 2.5. Now you can see here what I'm talking about. About 24 earthquakes here in South America, and they show 1. 24 earthquakes there in South America, and they show 1 here. What a joke. What a cotton-picking joke. Over here in Central America, okay, I want to show you this. I'm going to zoom in here. I want to zoom in here. Okay, the one I highlighted again is in the mountainous region over here in Costa Rica. That was a 3.8. This one over here at the shore, this is a 5.5 magnitude earthquake. Okay, a 5.5 magnitude earthquake. What are they not showing you here? They're not showing you this, are they? Look at all the earthquakes that are really there. Okay, over in Panama, okay, northern Panama, at the Costa Rican border, we had a 3.5 here. I'm not going to point out all the earthquakes. These are 3s and 4s all through Costa Rica, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Guatemala. Okay, 3.4s, 3.5s, and upwards of 4.5s as well. 3.2s in Guatemala, 3.7s, 3.6s, 3.0s over here in southern Mexico. Okay, southern Mexico's got quite a few earthquakes here. I'll show you. Look at that. There's still swarms of earthquakes in southern Mexico, but you'll never hear that from USGS. They don't show any at all, do they? Not a one. Not even a one. Let's go into southern Texas, Three Rivers, Texas. We have a 2.2 here. Three Rivers, Texas, a 2.2. Go figure. Okay. USGS, we have a 2.2 here, and just north of that, we have a 2.4. Interesting. Interesting. Then we go further north here. What do we have here? What do you think we have here? Okay, we have a 3.3 near Toyah, Texas. A 3.3 near Toyah, Texas. But there's more. This is a 2.3 here. Okay, that happens. That happens. Now, why am I showing you this? Because, folks, we talked to you about Cascadia last night. We have a lot more earthquakes to show you here. Okay? For example, this here in Ferndale. This earthquake here in Ferndale today. This is in the southern part of the Cascadia subduction region. The southern part of the Cascadia subduction region. This is a 4.6 magnitude earthquake today. This is also an aftershock of another 8.0 earthquake several months ago. Remember that earthquake they said was a 6.8? And I pointed out to you guys that it was really an 8.0, 8.5, causing all sorts of damage. It was offshore. Most offshore earthquakes that size really don't cause a ton of damage onshore. But that was a major earthquake, and they tried to get away with calling it something less. Okay? This is an aftershock, a 4.6 aftershock over here in Ferndale, California. We're going to see more like that. We're going to see a lot more just like that. It's coming. We see the energy building, we really do. Okay? Let's really quick go back up here to the Arctic Circle. Not Arctic Circle. I'm sorry, the Aleutian Islands. I don't know where my mind is. Well, I do know, because we're experiencing a lot of other earthquakes, and I'm fully expecting the Arctic Circle to get hit within short order here. The Aleutian Islands here, the the western Aleutian Islands here. This is in Attu Station, Alaska. We've seen 4s and even a 5 hit here a week or so ago. Okay, this is a 4.3 moderate earthquake. It's not very deep earthquake. It's only 4.4 kilometers deep. Okay, it's on the ridge here. So along the Aleutian Island Ridge, the earthquake superhighway. That's why it hit. That's exactly why it hit. Okay, we've had other earthquakes over here near Atka, Alaska here. This happens, like I said, to be a volcano. Look at that. Still swarming here. Still swarming. We're either going to have a volcanic eruption here, or we're going to have a major earthquake. That's what happens when we get swarms like this. Okay? And they continue to happen here. Okay? So we may be expecting a volcanic eruption there. And we see only down here in the western part of the panhandle here. This is a 2.0 here, near Unalaska. Okay? Not a real big deal. It's just a minor earthquake here. Going up into the panhandle here, we see more earthquakes here. Not too much of a big deal though. Okay? Right here, for instance. Okay? We have a small cache of earthquakes here. Right? This one here that I highlighted is a 1.0. This is a 1.6. This is a 0.5 microquake. Going north, we have a 2.4 earthquake. Okay? Just a small cache of earthquakes here. And we go north, and that's all we see up here. That's all we see here are minor tremors and earthquakes. Okay? Up here in Denali National Park. Look at this. All of the earthquakes except for 2 here are in outside of Denali. This one here is a 1.7 in Denali National Park. And it's south of the big mountain here. Okay? This is a 3.5 on the other north side of Mount McKinley. Okay, so we see some earthquakes here, but we don't see a lot of other things. These earthquakes in Denali National Park, they're on the Craton. There's a northern Craton, and that's where Denali is. The southern Craton is down here. And we have seen swarms of earthquakes down here along the southern Craton of Alaska. Okay? This is happening. Over in Washington, good old Washington State. I love Washington State. I love all of you in Washington as well. I really do. I care. Today, over here just north of Washington, and they've taken it down, we had what they determined to be a quarry blast over in Princeton, British Columbia. Princeton, British Columbia has some quarry blasts, and they have some quarries just north of Princeton. Now I can't pin it on this map because they've taken the earthquake down, but it was definitely a quarry blast near a quarry up here in Princeton, Canada. Okay, but down here in Washington, okay, down here on the southern end of the Puget Sound area here. This is a 0.8. This is near Dulacine, Washington. Dulacine, Washington, guys. Okay, we don't see any really marked increase in seismic activity, at least on this map, because they're not going to tell us. This is Mount Rainier. They're not showing us anything, are they? They're not showing us anything over here at Mount St. Helens. or even over east here at Mount Adams. They almost never report anything at Adams lately. Not yesterday, not almost any time. South here, south of Helens, this was a 1.1 magnitude earthquake at the Washington-Oregon border. 1.1 tremor here. South of there, guess what we had here? This is Mount Hood. Good old Mount Hood here. Okay? They called this government camp. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with government camp. This is a minus 0.5 tremor. This is just up on the northwest side, the northwest flank of Mount Hood. They're calling it government camp. It's nowhere near government camp. Government camp is down here on the lower western flank of Mount Hood. Government camp is nowhere near the summit of Mount Hood. So again, I call USGS BS. Okay? If this actually was at Mount Hood, and I don't think it wasn't, this was up here, not on the lower west side or south side. Okay? It was up near the western rim of Mount Hood here. Okay? They say government camp, bullcrap. It's also probably just barely below the rim of Mount Hood. So that's what's going on there. Now I want to take you really quick. I want to talk about some weather that's been happening in California. The first place I'm going to take you folks is over here to Southern California. There's a lot of weather over in California, a ton. Okay? So I want to take you over to Los Angeles area. I have listed in our program description a link to these weather forecasts and weather statements issued by the weathermen at KTLA Channel 5 in Los Angeles. This is the greatest. Okay, this is some of the best broadcasting weather-wise at KTLA. I want you to watch this. This is just a couple minutes.
In other news this afternoon, closures along Coast Highway as Orange County's coastal cities deal with potential flooding and debris flow. Officials say parts of the road will remain closed indefinitely as the area tries to mitigate any damage caused by this latest storm.
KTLA 5's Orange County Bureau Chief Chip Yost is in Dana Point with the details. Chip.
Yeah, hey there, Glenn and Lou. Yeah, we're on Coast Highway. This is Dana Point. Show you why we're in the car. We're actually on the highway. This is the closed part of the highway right now. You can see there have been some workers over here doing some work on the hillside. This is the same section between Camino Capistrano and Beach Road in Dana Point that was closed last week because of some debris flowing onto the roadway from the hillsides. That seems to be the case again here today. They've been working on this hillside right here. According to some information we got from the city, though, they do not believe these homes up on the bluffs here are in any danger. Those are not a problem. They said it's just debris coming down from the hillsides causing these problems on Coast Highway. So Coast Highway right now shut down between Camino Capistrano and Beach Road. Not the only big closure to talk about in Orange County. I'll show you some video right now from Huntington Beach. This is the one that just again and again and again seems to shut down anytime there's a significant amount of rain. This is PCH at Warner you're looking at right here. I believe the closure goes to Sea Point, but at Warner right there you can see PCH closed down again because of some flooding issues on the PCH. Another thing,
PCH is Pacific Coast Highway.
We're keeping an eye on here in Orange County, of course, is what's going on in San Clemente. There are those homes, those 4 multi-unit buildings on the bluff there, on the hillside beachfront properties that are red tagged and evacuated because of...
Okay, red tagged and evacuated up on the bluffs there. Okay, look at those. Their backyards are gone. They slid down the cliff there.
A landslide last week. So everybody keeping an eye on that and hoping those properties hold up, because the residents who are evacuated still waiting to see if and when they'll ever be able to go back and get live in their properties again. So those things all being looked at right now, though. Back here at the live shot here on Coast Highway, you can see the sun is out, but work's still being done to try to get the roadway clear here on Coast Highway so they can reopen. For now, reporting live here in Dana Point, I'm Chip Yost, KTLA.
Okay, Chip Yost at KTLA. Well, guess what? I'm going to show you another one there. Okay, this may blow your mind. This is also KTLA. Watch this.
All right, Casey, thank you. Rain and high winds also slamming the coastal communities. This is what it looks like in Manhattan Beach as some people brave the wild weather conditions. This latest storm is bringing high surf and some dangerous conditions around to the coastline as well.
A wind advisory and a flash flood warning have been issued for most of LA County. KTLA 5's Chris Wolf live now in North Hollywood with conditions there. Chris?
Yeah, Glenn and Lou here in North Hollywood. The sun is still shining. The streets have dried up, but this is just a respite. Heavy rain, strong winds, and potential flooding are still in the forecast, and we could see all of that very soon. A new day, a new season, another pounding for California. Flood warnings, watches, or high wind advisories have been issued for much of the region, various parts of Southern California, for the first part of the week, which marks the beginning of spring. Early Tuesday morning, there was a mess on the 101 southbound in Boyle Heights. Authorities say a water main erupted near 4th Street. That problem, along with consistent rainfall, caused the flooding, which was significant. About 3 feet of water covering the southbound lanes of the freeway. Some of that also spilled onto the northbound side. LADWP tried to shut off the water gushing out of the ruptured main line, but a fire broke out at a house in the same neighborhood, and LA City firefighters needed water from a fire hydrant. That was one challenge on top of another. The utility was able to shut off the water about an hour later when the fire was out. By late morning, flooding on the 101 had receded. The National Weather Service warns that in the LA area, extensive street flooding and flooding of creeks and rivers is possible during this latest weather event. Rainfall totals Tuesday through Wednesday were expected to be 1 to 2 inches across the coasts and valleys and 2 to 4 inches in the mountains. And certainly during the height of severe weather, if you don't need to leave your homes, then don't. Stay put, stay safe. Reporting live in North Hollywood, I'm Chris Wolf, KTLA 5 News.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. And now we're going to head over and check in with Gene Kane. He's joining us live from Arrowhead Springs with a look at the conditions there. Hi.
Arrowhead Springs is up in the mountains of the San Bernardino Mountains. The situation is much different up there than down near the coast. This whole area is going to get inundated with rain, and the eastern part of the mountain sides area are going to be hit again with more snow.
Hi, Glenn and Lou. Well, I've just been looking at Twitter and some updates from the San Bernardino County officials. They're saying they're having some rock slides up in the mountains, so they're warning, just be careful with all of this bad weather. We're live here in Arrowhead Springs, and this is the 18 leading up to that area, Crestline and Lake Arrowhead. As you see, the weather has been on and off, heavy rain, all of a sudden a break in rain and it stops. But a lot of snow, rain, as well as slush, a mix of bad weather that they're dealing with in San Bernardino County. Take a look as you see all of this bad weather that's rolling through. Caltrans tweeted video saying, quote, visibility is a big nope. Please consider travel when conditions improve. If you must travel, be prepared with chains and stay safe. They're trying to plow those streets as quickly and as safely as possible. And look at this. Heavy snow hit Running Springs. Within minutes, roads were covered with fresh powder. State and county plow trucks are out in full force today. The peak of the storm is expected this afternoon. With all of this snow, there's widespread to moderate to heavy rainfall and thunderstorms plus high winds expected. Over in other areas, driving in Snow Valley is challenging, as you see in this video, with nearly whiteout conditions. It's officially spring, and the National Weather Service expects a powerful storm to move through the Inland Empire, going all the way until at least tomorrow night. Now, conditions much the same over on Highway 18 between Running Springs and Snow Valley. Patchy fog, wind mixed in with heavy snowfall, so looks like we're getting a lot of the different kinds of bad weather. Forecasters predict at elevations above 6,000 feet, residents will get up to 4 feet of snow. Lower elevations anywhere from 10 to 20 inches. We've had mixed reactions today from people I talked to. Some people love it, others, including a dentist here in Arrowhead Springs, say they miss the warm weather.
It was crazy just a while back. It actually snowed for about 3 hours here in San Bernardino. It was amazing.
You like the snow?
Oh, I love snow. Are you kidding? I mean, I don't live back east. I know they would just hate me for saying that.
So, Mother Nature, more snow, more atmospheric rivers, in your opinion?
I love atmospheric rivers.
My office ran out of power randomly last Wednesday, which never happened, so I had to shut the office down. And then I even have an office up in Arrowhead that I've had to close for 1 month. So
wow, that's a long time because of all the snow.
This weather is super unusual for this time of year, especially. I grew up here, so we're all shocked. No one likes the rain in SoCal.
Well, back out here live, very quickly want to show you some of the traffic. That rain's starting to come down again, putting on our hoodies. Now, earlier I was checking Twitter. It looks like San Bernardino County officials say southbound 18 is closed. That's all the way from Upper to Lower Waterman Canyon. That's because of possible mudslides and rock slides. Reporting live here in Arrowhead Springs, Gene Kang. Back to you in the studio.
That's unreal,
This
guys.
weird new tool is quickly becoming the most popular.
Sorry. That's wild. Okay? I'm going to take you up to Northern California now. This is Fox News reporting this. This is unbelievable. And it's happening. It's continuing to pound the entire west coast of North America and even southwestern Canada. Watch this.
More than 25 million people are under flood threats. That's including the Los Angeles metro area, as this storm's heavy rain and gusty winds are threatening to topple trees rooted in saturated, loose soil. That can lead to power outages. Fox Weather's Max Gordon joins us now live from Culver City, California. Max, the Golden State has been quite storm fatigued. What are conditions like right now as we've been watching some of this rain pummeling the coastline all day today? It does look like we're in a bit of a lull.
Yeah, well, spring has continued to come in like a lion here in California. We are in a bit of a lull right now. We're seeing some peaks of blue sky after a pretty rainy evening and morning here in the Los Angeles metro area, but it continues to be very blustery here. We're getting gusts of around 40 to 50 miles per hour in some areas in the Los Angeles metro. When we're talking about the ridge lines, we could be seeing gusts between 70 to 80 miles per hour, a gust of around 102 miles per hour already recorded at Magic Mountain Truck Trail. That's a little bit north of the valley. Now that's an area that does get very, very gusty winds, but still impressive nonetheless. Some areas here have gotten about an inch of rain so far with this storm. We could be seeing around 3 inches, up to 3 inches of rain in the coastal areas and valleys. 3 to 6 inches possible when we're talking about the foothills and mountains. Now, this has been a very stormy season all across California. A lot of people very storm fatigued, and the Office of Emergency Services here in California, they've gotten their work cut out for them this entire winter. They've been pre-positioning assets around California in anticipation of this latest storm. They've got high water rescue teams, different equipment stationed everywhere, just waiting for the worst to happen or whatever might happen with this latest system moving in. Flood watches are in effect all down the central and southern coast of California, including where we are in Los Angeles County. And then we're also talking about very heavy snow at times. Really, when we're talking about the major snow totals, the largest impacts are really expected for Southern California, for the Southern California mountain ranges, where up to 4 feet of snow could be possible in some areas at the higher elevations. In the central Sierra Nevada mountains, we could be talking about 1 to 2 feet of extra snow.
Look at that snow.
That have already gotten just tremendous amounts of snow this season. So, it's another powerful winter storm system that's currently hitting California after really, we've had storm after storm hitting the state ever since the end of December. Now, the saturated soil combined with the winds, the high winds that we're now experiencing, could lead to additional power outages. We are starting to see some power outages go out across the state. So that's going to be one thing that we're really going to keep a close eye on. And then there is also a marine warning for high seas. The oceans are going to be pretty dangerous from today into tomorrow with gale force winds and waves up to 13 feet high in some areas. So a slew of dangers associated with this next system moving in. Just another storm for a weary state at this point. Ian?
Max, that snowpack has been historic, clearly. Up and down the Sierra Nevada now, we're
Yes.
now more than double their April 1st average for snowpack, which is incredible to consider. But there in the valley, what is the sentiment here? Because you've got Los Angeles that has more rain so far this year than Seattle, and it's not close. I'd have to imagine that folks there in SoCal must be a bit tired of it, even though it's such a precious resource and so badly needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people move to Southern California for the beautiful weather, especially in the wintertime. And this winter has been very abnormal. We've already gotten more rain than Los Angeles usually gets in an entire year. On average, Los Angeles gets a little over 12 inches of rain. We've gotten around 15 inches of rain so far. So a tremendous amount of rain for the LA area. Really, the soil here also isn't it's not the type of soil that soaks it right up, like you normally have in Northern California. This is an area where you get even a half inch to an inch of rain, and you already see some minor flooding in some areas. So yeah, I think people here are maybe ready for the rain to go away, and they're ready for that traditionally beautiful Southern California weather to return.
Yeah, unusual, to put it mildly. Max Gordon, thank you. We'll be checking back in with you shortly.
Did you see all that snow, guys? Our total rainfall right here. Average is 10.5, just over 10.5 inches of moisture. 20.58. 20.5 inches of rain has fallen in the Los Angeles metro area since October 1st. Nearly 2 feet of rain. This is well over their average. It's no wonder that we're seeing flooding in Los Angeles. The Los Angeles River Basin flooded. Streams and creeks flooded. Housing areas flooded. Up in the mountains, you saw the snow. In some cases, 6 to 10 feet of snow has fallen anywhere around the San Bernardino Mountains and going up into Lake Tahoe. That's a ton of snow. The reservoirs are full. Okay? That's why I want to show you that. It's no longer drought, guys. It's water that's much badly needed, but because there's so much of it, a lot of it's going out into the ocean. Fortunately for a lot of cities and towns, the reservoirs are holding, and they're going to try to save as much of the water as they can. Okay? This is unheard of. It's never been this way in years. Hasn't been this way in years. A lot of years. Anyway, I want to show you that. As that one forecaster said, that one meteorologist said, if you're in California or Washington and Oregon, if you see you're getting slammed with either rain, wind, and or snow, stay home. Don't go out in it. That constitutes an emergency in your life. Don't take the chance on getting stalled out in bad rain, flooded roads, or in the snow. You're risking your life. Don't do it. Stay home. Now, folks, there's a couple other things we want to talk about tonight. Okay? We talked about earthquakes. We talked about some earthquakes, but this is not all. We're going to talk about the new Madrid fault in just a few minutes. Folks, what you're going to see here tonight is something that I didn't think we were going to see for another year or so. The new Madrid fault is building up. But what I'm going to show you is far worse. I'm going to show you some earthquakes on the East Coast. Okay? Earthquakes on the East Coast. This is big time. Big time. Before I do that, I want to bring up one of the seismograms from here in North Carolina. No, let's do this. Let me take it further north. Let's go up into West Virginia and Virginia. I want to show you what's been going on. Okay? We have had the Atlantic plate pushing the North American plate south-southwest, haven't we? We've talked about this. But folks, I want to show you what it is actually doing. Okay? Let's go over to Accomack, Virginia. Okay? I want to show you Accomack, Virginia. Look at this, guys. Okay? Like I said, it's been busy. You can see a lot of tremors down there at the bottom here. This is this morning. This is all the seismic activity this morning. Starting at midnight last night, very little. Very, very little. Okay? But as the morning progressed, we've had a few tiny tremors going on. Just after 5 o'clock, we've seen a few tremors going on. Then after 6 o'clock, a few more tremors. And you see as we go through the first part of the morning there, we have a few tremors. But what happened middle morning to late morning? Look at these tremors here. This is big time. No, we don't have any earthquakes here. Okay? This is Virginia. Again, the Atlantic plate to the east is pushing on the North American plate where we're sitting. Pushing on the North American plate, causing it to move. You see the tremors here in Virginia. Let me take you to West Virginia next. Okay? Let me show you that. Folks, this is Martinsburg, West Virginia. Martinsburg, West Virginia. Look at this, guys. Okay? This blew my mind today. This blew my mind. As we look at this, okay? Let me blow it up a little bit here so you can really see what I'm talking about. Okay? Up at the top is midnight. You don't see much happen. Then all of a sudden, at just after 2 a.m. this morning, we have some tremors, don't we? Not bad, huh? We go over 4 minutes. Just after 2:04 this morning, we had a 3.0 magnitude earthquake hit here. a 3.0 small earthquake. Okay? Not bad. A small earthquake, but a 3.0. You see tremors before and after that shock. Okay? It took about a minute and a half for the secondary wave to quit. Then the body wave continued for another 4 or 5 minutes. Okay? That was a powerful little quake. It was just a small one, but it's still powerful enough to be generating that much energy here. Okay? That was West Virginia. Okay? I showed you Accomack, Virginia. Okay? That's where the tremors first started. Is in Accomack. Well, guess what? There's one other place that I want to show you here. This is Mineral, Virginia. Look at this. Again, we just have small, minor tremor activity, rising up and fading away. Okay? Then, after 5:15, we have a few more tremors, don't we? Okay, this is wild. Let me just get exact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just after this is 5:24 a.m. this morning, we have another 3.0 earthquake. Just after 5:24 a.m. this morning, we had another 3.0 earthquake. This time, there was very little secondary wave. There were some foreshocks, very tiny tremors before it, but all of a sudden it came and went very quickly. Okay, so now you're seeing 2 earthquakes and some tremors here after that. We had another tremor here after 10, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at about 10:21 a.m. here. This one was like a 2.8, 2.9, a minor earthquake there, and then several other tremors. Okay, fairly quiet there. Okay, just a fairly quiet day so far. This is wild, guys. This is in Virginia. Okay, now I tried to get information out of Pennsylvania, but their seismic network is down, for whatever that means. Okay, I'm not calling the Pennsylvania network bad, but it's down, not reporting anything. But we're reporting in Virginia and West Virginia. Okay, now let's go over to North Carolina. We have earthquakes here in North Carolina, guys. Okay, we're just south of what they've been showing us here. Let's go over here to North Carolina, northeastern North Carolina, northeast of me. Okay, I want to show you, oh gosh, I want to show you Roland, North Carolina. This is northeast of me, near the coast. Okay, near the coast. You don't see much happen early this morning, do we? Okay, the seismic activity happened here after 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. today. Look at all these tremors and earthquakes here today along the northeast coast. Okay, we have a lot of tremors here, but what you're seeing here over on the left hand side on the black line, that black line, let me enlarge this so you can see it here. That black line is 7 o'clock this morning. So this first earthquake happened, it was like a 2.8. That was at least a 2.8, just 2 minutes after 7 a.m. this morning. Then we have a bunch of other tremors here. Then we go further right here. Now this is a 2.8, 2.9. I believe this is just shy of being a 3.0. Okay? Just shy of being a 3.0. Now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That happened at approximately 7:20 a.m. this morning. 7:20 a.m. this morning. Then a minute later, or 30 seconds later, we have another one, basically the same size. Then we have a 2.0 earthquake after that. 2.5 minutes later, we have a 2.5, 2.6. Okay? That was just on the 7 a.m. line. We drop down to the 7:15 red line. All of a sudden we have 1.8, 1.9 tremor. And you can see other earthquakes here as well. On this on this blue line here, you're seeing a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake there. Just shy of a 3. 4, almost 5 minutes later, we have another one. Okay? Then, after 8:45 a.m. this morning, actually no, let's go up above that. After 7:45 a.m. another one. Okay? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. So this is this is 8:50 in the morning. This appears to be close to a 3.0 earthquake. Okay? So we're having the quakes. Then we come down to the 8:45 earthquakes. Here, that first one on that green line after 8:45, just prior to 8:46, this is a 2.8 here. Then we have some tremors, and then we go up to another 2.8, 2.9, maybe close to a 3.0 again. And then you see these other tremors here as well. That one on the red line on the right hand side, that's an earthquake. Probably 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Minor earthquake. 2.0, 2.9 considered to be minor earthquakes. Okay? This is along the coast of North America. This is the northeastern part of North Carolina. Incredible. Incredible. Big earthquakes, guys. Big earthquakes. Wait till you see what I'm going to show you. Okay? If you think that's big, you're in for a shocker. Okay? So I showed you West Virginia. I've showed you Virginia. I've showed you North Carolina. Let's go over to South Carolina. Okay? I just love South Carolina. Wait till you see this. Let's go over to Sumter. This is Sumter, South Carolina. This is east of Elgin and Lugoff. East of Elgin and Lugoff. Not very far east, but maybe 20 miles east of Elgin and Lugoff, where we've seen reported earthquakes there by the USGS. Look what we're seeing here in Elgin. Okay? All morning long, up until 8 or 7:30, it's been fairly quiet. Just barely some tremors here. Then what happened? Just after 7:30. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes there. Okay? This would be 7:37 a.m. this morning. All of a sudden, we've got nearly a 3.0 earthquake again. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. We see tons of tremors, little tiny tremors here. 1.5, 1.3, 1.4 tremors. building up to earthquakes, building up to other size tremors. Okay? It's incredible what we see here. We go over to 8 o'clock on the black line on the left. Shows 8 o'clock there. I believe that was probably a 2.0 earthquake. We can't see much above the line here, and we can't see hardly anything below the black line there. Okay? This probably is a 2.0 earthquake. And it lasted nearly 60 seconds. That's a pretty good sized earthquake. Then, after that, the secondary wave goes out for almost another 45, 60 seconds again. Okay? Look at these other earthquakes here. Over here on the right on that same black line. Okay? This is 8:13. Just after 8:13 this morning. Okay? This again is a 2.8 earthquake. Minor earthquake. And you can see what has happened here. Okay? You also see on that green line above it. Okay, just before 8 o'clock this morning. Earthquakes. Then this is very interesting. This red line here is 9:15. 9:15. We go up to this black line above it on the right hand side. Okay? This is on the 9 o'clock line on the left, but over here on the right, this is just before 9:15. Is that right, 9:15? 10:15. Okay? 10:13, we have tremors building up. 10:14, they're still building. Just before 10 o'clock, we see the earthquake hit. That earthquake continued to move for nearly 60 seconds. How would you like to have a big earthquake happen? This is just a minor earthquake. But how would you like to feel shaking for nearly a full minute? Would that be unnerving? And then to feel light shaking after that, continuing for another 2 or 3 minutes. That would drive you crazy. Fortunately, us here in North Carolina didn't feel the rest of this. This was over in northeastern North Carolina. Roland, North Carolina. Again, you see the North Atlantic pushing on the North Atlantic plate pushing on the North American plate. Okay? Causing earthquakes, not just tremors, but full-blown earthquakes. Okay? North Carolina. I showed you South Carolina. Okay? It's happening. It's happening, brothers and sisters. Happening. Okay? The East Coast is being pushed. And that's pushing on the eastern side of the New Madrid Fault. All right? Let's keep going here. I want to go up to the northern part of the New Madrid Fault. Okay? Let's look at the New Madrid now. Okay? You need to know what's going on. Let's go over to Fairfield, Illinois. This is Fairfield, Illinois here. Again, what is going on here? Up at the top of this seismogram, the black line is midnight last night. We had just a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. Okay, this was at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This was after midnight, 9 minutes after midnight. Just a minor earthquake. Then we did not have any more tremors until after 2:15 this morning. about 2:25 this morning, or 2:20 this morning. And you can see these other tremors here. They're building and building and building all morning long. Look at this. Down on the bottom blue line here. On the bottom blue line here. Okay? This is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It starts at 11:36 a.m. this morning. Okay? That's when the first tremors start hitting. Then about 11:37 this morning, I believe we may have had a 3.0 earthquake. Okay, we can't see the entire bottom because it's cut off by the bottom of this seismogram. But this was a good sized earthquake. 3.0 may be small, but this is still a good sized earthquake here on the north end of the New Madrid fault. Okay, that's what I'm saying. On the north end of the New Madrid fault. We see a lot of movement, don't we? Let me show you what I have here. I'm going over to New Harmony, Indiana. Okay, this is this afternoon. This morning nothing happened. Mostly horizontal lines here. Nothing more than thin horizontal lines. Then this afternoon, just after noon today, we have some tremors, don't we? None of this is any more than just tremors here, but a lot of them. A lot of tremors have built up here on the north end of the New Madrid. This is still a lot of pressure here. It's like a pressure cooker building up pressure on the north end of the New Madrid fault. Now, I'm going to take you south. Okay? I want to take you over Arkansas. Good old Arkansas. Okay? I want to take you to a town called Needham. Needham, Arkansas is over on the western side of Jonesboro, Arkansas. Jonesboro is on the eastern side of Arkansas. This is west of there about 30-40 miles. Okay? Needham, Arkansas. A while back on the other channel, before they rudely took my channel away from me, some hacker, look at this. Back then we had some earthquakes and some minor tremors. This is nothing more this morning than minor tremors here building up. That's all it is. Building up and dissipating energy. Okay? This is in Arkansas. Renee Sevi says lots of activity showed up in Blacksburg, South Carolina too. Yes, there was. Okay? This is Needham, Arkansas. We don't have a seismograph in Jonesboro, but just south and east of Jonesboro, we have another place in Arkansas. This is called Marked Tree. Marked Tree, Arkansas. Except for the times about 2 months went by when we had nothing to show you here because they blocked it out. Now they're showing us all the information again. Look at these good-sized earthquakes. Okay? These are all threes. I believe each and every one of these are threes. The tops of these are cut off. The bottoms of them are cut off. This is a heck of a lot of seismic energy. Over on the left-hand side, you see tremors building up before the main earthquake happens. Sometimes a larger jolt will happen immediately right after the said tremors, the larger tremors. In this case, there was maybe a 1.7, 1.8 tremor buildup, then it died off for another few seconds, and then the primary waves started. The primary waves lasted a full minute and a half. You can see it happening here. Then it dissipates, then it starts in again. This seismic event here was about a minute and a half long. Then the secondary wave kicked in for another 30 seconds or so. Well, about a minute and a half. Then the body wave continued out after that. Okay? Then over on the right-hand side on the black line. This is interesting. Okay? This is very interesting here. Okay? This is after 3 o'clock in the morning on this black line. Over here on the right, we're talking about 3:13 a.m. when this earthquake hit. This was at least a 3.0 earthquake. They've capped off the top, and I believe they cut off the bottom of it. We can hardly see the bottom of it because it's covered by another earthquake. Okay? But again, at least a 3.0 earthquake, lasting almost a minute and a half or 2.5 minutes. On the one below that, in the green, we think we see an earthquake that may not be cut off the top or the bottom, but the main wave here. The main wave happened after 3:45 a.m. this morning. Okay, about 3:53 a.m. this morning. The seismic energy started with tremors. Then it built up and it built up until just before 3:56 a.m. this morning. The main primary wave. And it lasted about 30 seconds. Then it diminished a little bit and kept on going. The entire earthquake here lasted 3.5 minutes. The foreshock lasted about a minute and a half. The aftershock, the secondary wave, that thing lasted nearly 2 minutes itself. Down below that, we have another seismic event. This one not as large, maybe a 2.5, 2.6 minor earthquake, but still an earthquake nonetheless. Look at the bottom here. This is what's interesting about this. Again, this is in Arkansas. They cut these earthquakes completely off. All we had on the seismograms for 2 months was nothing more than horizontal lines. They're showing us the seismic events happening. This is on the western side of the New Madrid fault, near the center of the New Madrid. We're seeing a lot of activity, guys. A ton of activity. And they're not reporting it on the USGS map. None of it. Not any of it. Let's go south from here to Tyronza, Arkansas. No, Truman. I'm sorry, Truman, Arkansas next. Okay? Truman, Arkansas is amazing. Okay? Literally. It has less seismic, it has just as many seismic events, but they're less powerful. The top of this one up here at the top is after midnight last night. Okay, 12:15, 16, 17, 18. 12:18 this morning, it started off with tremors. 12:19, larger tremors. Okay, probably 1.5 tremor. Then it builds up over the next minute with 1.5 tremors and builds into a full-blown quake. This was probably a 2.8 earthquake, all along, lasting a minute and a half. You can see those primary waves hammering here, one after the other. You can see down here on this green line to the right. This is after 2:55 p.m. or a.m. this morning. About 2:57, 2:58. Okay? Incredible. We see these seismic events happening. Most of these are smaller than what happened north of there in Marktree. But this is Truman, Arkansas. We're still seeing a great deal of seismic events happening south of Marktree. South of Marktree. Okay? I'm going to take you to Tyronza, Arkansas now. Let's see here. Tyronza, right here. Look at this, guys. Less big stuff? Yes, less big stuff. The largest thing I think we have here are at least 3 2.0s, 2.4 earthquakes. The 2.0 is in the middle of, basically in the middle on the blue line here. Okay, that's a 2.0. Off down here to the right, also in another blue line here, this is after 9:30 this morning, probably about 8:44, 8:43 a.m. this morning, we have another 2.0. Then down here, okay, we have a bunch of other 2.0s as well, but on this red line here, this is after 10:13 this morning. This looks to be a 2.1 earthquake. Okay, just minor earthquakes and tremors here. Okay, so the seismic energy built up to the north and it fanned out to the south. That's really interesting. Let me let you see what happened in Mississippi today. Yes, I have a seismogram from good old Mississippi, MISS-ISS-IPPI. If I can find it. I know I brought it in here. Ah, geez, they took it down. Shh. They wouldn't let me show it to you. That's a bunch of crapola. Okay, I'm going to the north and east. I'm going to show you Missouri. Missouri had a lot of activity. A ton of activity. Let me show you Portageville. Just like Marktree, Arkansas. Okay, we're still seeing these good earthquakes here. Crisp earthquake signals here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, just after 4:35 a.m. this morning. Okay, these are 2.8, 2.9 earthquake, 2.9 earthquake here in the blue. Yes, it's been cut off. It may have been over 3.0. Okay, then we see a bunch of tremors, don't we? The green and the black, just small, tiny tremors. Then we go down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just after 8 o'clock this morning. About 8:03 this morning, we have another 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Okay? This one doesn't look like it's cut apart at the top or the bottom. So this one is good sized minor earthquake. And it lasts nearly 50 seconds from start to finish. We have some tremors before that, and we have some tremor secondary waves after that. before it goes into a body wave. Okay? Then down here at the bottom here, this happened after 11:15 this morning. 16, 17, 18. It starts building up just before 11:19 this morning. Then it continues with tremors until nearly 20 minutes after 11 here. Okay? Then, this case, I believe this is probably a 3.0 plus earthquake because they cut off the bottom and the top of this. That's a lot of seismic energy, guys. Okay? This is on the center of the New Madrid fault. Okay? That's why you're seeing this here. That's a lot of energy in the center of the New Madrid. We show you the western side. We showed you a lot of seismic energy there. This is just north and central to the New Madrid fault. Okay? It's wild. It really is. Then we can go over to Guam, Arkansas. Guam, Arkansas. This is over in the northern side of, Guam, Missouri, I'm sorry. Guam, Missouri. This is the northern part of Guam, Missouri. Okay, in the central part of Missouri. Look at this. We have tremors building, don't we? A lot of tremors building on this one. Okay, from the top of it going down, we have tremors building here. You can see it. Down at the bottom on the green, in the green here, towards the left, on the green line we're seeing some 2.0 earthquakes. Okay, it picked up from just tremors to earthquake this morning. Okay, before that on the blue line, after this would be 7:30, over on the red line above it to the right, that's when the tremors started. And they started just about 40 seconds, 45 seconds before the earthquake happened, and the blue here on the left. Okay, that's probably a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Okay, that's a pretty good sized quake as well. Okay, look what happens here. Late morning. Okay, this is the center of the New Madrid fault, guys. It's no small wonder that people are feeling seismic energy moving all over the New Madrid. Okay, these are not as big as we showed you over at Mark Tree, but they're highly significant. What's happening? Highly significant. Let's show you more here. I showed you Portageville, I've showed you Mark Tree, I showed you Guam now. This is the afternoon in Guam here. Okay? Seismic energy just didn't quit after 12 o'clock. It continued. And I pulled this seismogram at about just after 4 p.m. today. Okay? It shows here about 4:02 I pulled it, which was probably right. But still, here in Guam, Missouri, that's still significant activity. Okay? Very significant activity. The entire fault range is moving on the New Madrid, guys. That's what I'm trying to show you. The entire fault line is moving. From the east, it's getting pummeled and squished by the Atlantic plate, moving the North American plate westward, southwest. You're seeing it here. All right, let's see. Okay. Oh gosh, where do I want to go with this? Okay, apparently I didn't show you guys Blacksburg, South Carolina. Okay, one of you great people here said Blacksburg was busy. It is. A lot of tremors that are happening in Blacksburg, South Carolina. Again, from Virginia on the north down here to Georgia and South Carolina, it's still moving. A lot of movement. A ton of movement. This is all tremor activity. It's all tremor activity. I want to show you, oh gosh, where was it? Well, I want to show you Georgia. We have some activity in Georgia to show you too. Okay? I'm going to show you a minor tremor in Tifton, Georgia. Look at that. Early this morning before they turned the seismograph off. Yeah, they turned it off today. Actually, this is not this morning, this is this afternoon. They turned it off today. Look at that. Just after 1. And before that, let me show you on this one specifically. Remember that earthquake in Afghanistan? Look at this before that earthquake hit here in Georgia. The seismogram here has recorded the seismic energy that happened and hit in Afghanistan. Then after 1 o'clock, 2, 3, after 1:04 p.m. this afternoon, we had probably a 2.4 magnitude earthquake. That's what it looks like. Okay? So from Virginia and West Virginia south all the way down here to Georgia, we've shown you marked seismic increase. It's still moving. The entire plate is moving. The entire North American continent is moving. Okay? All right. I think I've shown you the majority of the movement. Now I want to take you to the state of Louisiana. I want to show you DeRidder, Louisiana, and I'm going to show you Pioneer, Louisiana. This is DeRidder, Louisiana this morning. All you see here are tremors here. There's nothing but tremors here. It's hitting. It's hitting consistently almost all day long. Okay? That's DeRidder this morning. Let me show you Pioneer, Louisiana next. Good old Pioneer. Okay? This is nothing more than minor low seismic energy here. This is 1.2, 1.3 tremors going here. Nothing big at all. Not at all. But again, on the bottom of this seismogram, you're seeing the Afghani earthquake here. Afghani earthquake. It started just after 11 something our time here this morning, here in the Eastern Time Zone, and it continued until about 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That's an awful lot of shaking. Like I said, it wasn't just the 6.5, it was strong shaking. Okay? And if the other seismographs did not show the information on the seismograms, that's because they were scrubbed. They were scrubbed. It's sad that they do it, but they do. Okay? Okay, I think I've shown you for the most part everything I wanted to talk about. Does anybody have any questions? Some of you look like you've seen some buffering going on. I'm sorry about that. We have 110 thumbs up. I'm excited about that. You guys are showing YouTube that you guys mean business, that you enjoyed this program and what we're talking about. That's awesome. Okay? We really appreciate it. Okay? Don Patokas in Salt Lake City, the signal was good. Heather said buffering. Kimberly Hopkins says very little on her end. That's awesome. Catherine Sigurdsson in Canada says that she hopes East Coast doesn't drop off. No, it's not going to drop off. The East Coast is going to stay there. Okay? California may break up. I fully expect California to break up. Okay, we told you that on the Navy map, it shows a new inland waterway going from the Gulf of California all the way up to Pyramid Lake. Pyramid Lake. Scooting from the Gulf of California straight up through the valley down there in the Imperial Valley, all the way up there, and it going through the Walker Lane Fault area, going all the way to Pyramid Lake, Northern California. That's going to happen. Might not happen while I'm here. It might. Okay? You never know. The Earth is moving. And it's not just us here that's moving here in the United States. It's everyone is moving. The pole shift is happening. It's just over 30, 35 or 40 seconds right now. Okay? It's happening. It's going to continue. Nobody was here the last time we had a pole shift. With the pole shifting, we also have the continental shift itself. Okay, it's all scientific. We played this game before. It's all very scientific. Does anybody have any more questions? Kimberly Hopkins just says Pyramid Lake is kind of creepy. Oh yeah. If you've been up to Pyramid Lake, it's kind of different. It reminds you of that lake way down south in the Imperial Valley. Okay? That inland lake is incredible. But the problem is, it stinks. It has no tributaries off of it, and it has nothing to feed it. The only thing that feeds it is rainfall or snow coming down off the Chocolate Mountains. That's it. It stinks. The side shakes. Don Patok says, Ron, are the charts Crayola approved or do they use ink? I think they use ink, Don. That's funny. Shan says, I'm hoping the West Coast doesn't go while I'm on it. I can understand that. I totally get that. Hurricane Heather says, life-threatening situation in Central California. With all that weather, yeah. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. And if anything else happens there in Central California, look out. It's all over. It's literally all over. Now, Heather's also saying have a plan, fam, and that's true. Have a plan. We talked about writing emergency preparedness plans. We talked about it on this channel and previous channels before this. We talked about emergency preparedness kits, supply kits. Last Friday we talked about all of that. Okay? We're going to continue to talk probably on Friday about what we're going to do during a major event. Whether it be an earthquake or a flood or whatever. What are our duties to our families? What are our duties to our neighborhoods, our friends, and even our jobs? We're going to talk more about that this coming Friday. Okay? I want to make sure that we cover every aspect of what we're doing here. What we're doing to save our lives. Okay? I think it's very important that we have a plan. We've been talking about it for a long time. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Earthquakes aren't going to stop. The rain's not going to stop. The snow is not going to stop. Okay? Cyclones aren't going to stop. Hurricanes aren't going to stop. Tornadoes aren't going to stop. Fires aren't going to stop. We need to talk about what we're going to do. Things happen. And when other stupid things happen in our communities, we have to be ready for it. But that's what's going on Friday. Does anybody have any more questions here? Oh, by the way, guys, we have 537 subscribers. I'm excited. I'm stoked. I want to get up to 1,000 subscribers by probably summertime, by June. That would be great. Oh, I also want to tell you about something else. We got a good donation from Venmo today. Lindy sent us a donation to Venmo, and Linda Cunningham did the same thing. We thank those women for sending us donations. PayPal is here. That you have listed in the top of the program description. 2 Venmo or 2 PayPal locations and 1 Venmo. Okay? Now, I want to tell you about something else. Guess what, guys? This surprised me. I don't know why I'm surprised, because we used to get cards and letters 3 or 4 times a week. This is the first card that I've gotten in 2 or 3 weeks. This came from Vicky in Oregon, in Portland, Oregon. Okay? She sent us a beautiful card and another donation. Look at this card. That's pretty cool. Vicky and her husband Juan sent us this card. I can't thank you enough for all you do for all of us in bringing us the truth. Thank you for the Bible studies and for your information preparing for emergencies. God bless you. Praying that you too stay well. Much love, Vicky Juan. And then she sent us a cash donation inside this card. We appreciate that very much. Vicky, thank you. God bless all of you who support our program. We very much appreciate it. Okay? You guys are helping me keep it on the air and helping me pay my doctor's bills down. The doctors are knocking my door down. Unreal. But thank you all for your support. I love you for it. Now, as we've told you before, if something happens tonight, between now and tomorrow night when we come back on the air, things happen sometime tonight, as soon as the information comes out, we'll be back on the air with it. Okay? We appreciate each and every one of you being here. As my friend Walter Cronkite would say, and that's the way it is. Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. For Emergency Management Associates, this is Ron Tyler. I hope you have a wonderful night here. But I've got a little scripture to study, to show you tonight, to talk with you tonight. This comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 21 through 24, and also 35. Okay? In verse 21 it starts out here. Art thou being called a servant? Care not for it. But if thou mayest be made free, use it rather. For he that is called in the Lord being a servant is the Lord's freed man. Likewise, also he is called being free as Christ's servant. We're all servants. Verse 23, ye are bought with a price. Be not ye servants of men. Brethren, let every man wherein he is called, wherein abide with God. 35. And this I speak for your profit, not that I may cast a mire around you, but for that which is comely, and for that ye may attend upon the Lord without distraction. It's our job to help our fellow man. It's our job to serve our fellow man, and in doing so we serve God. Then what he said in that last verse I read you, in verse 35, he tells us not to be distracted, to stay in the Spirit of God. Let God guide us. Let him direct us to do good always. That's what he's saying there. I appreciate the scriptures so much. That's why I share them with you. I want you also to gather much strength and also gather love from the scriptures. That's what it's all about. The Lord wants us to know that he loves us, and he loves us by giving us the scriptures to teach us many great things. Now folks, I hope you have a good night. I appreciate everyone who stuck out here through this program. We've given you a lot of information. We gave you information about the weather on the West Coast because it's getting gnarly again. Every storm seems to be more powerful and last longer than the other before it. As that weather forecaster said, if you don't have to go out, don't. If it's pouring rain or pouring snow, stay in the house. Don't go out into it. I'm going to tell everybody the same thing because this storm is going across the entire United States. Okay? A lot of snow is falling. Please, folks, be safe. Do only those things that you know you can get away with. Okay? If you're elderly, don't attempt to clean 4 blocks worth of snow. You can't do it. You may not even be able to do your own sidewalk in front of your house. Get some help. There are a lot of people that want to serve. Get some help. Okay? If you're stuck in the driveway, get some help to clear the driveway. If your car is broken down, get somebody to help you. Please. Make sure you have an emergency preparedness kit. Make sure you have water. Make sure you have a plan, what you're going to do in, before, during, and after the emergency. Okay? So you come out the other side of it and stay alive. And if you're in business, stay in business. I hope and pray that each of you has a great night and a better tomorrow. Like I said, as soon as the information becomes available, if something happens, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it. I ask the Lord to bless you. May God be with you this day and always. God bless and keep you guys. We love you very much. Thank you for being here with us. You guys are the best. We've got the best audience and family ever. I truly believe that. I want to thank everybody that's been with us. Thank you. Rob is going after his wife at the airport. She's coming back from Southern California if the storms don't hold her there. I hope she travels safely as well. Stay off the passes in the mountains. Stay completely away. They're closed. Yellowstone was closed until just recently. Yellowstone's starting to open back up. Be safe out there. There's a lot going on out there. Yosemite in California is just barely opening up some. Be careful out there for deep snow still. Okay, and the Kern River running through it is very dangerous. Just be safe there. God be with you till we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody.